Hey everyone out there, we're back with episode 25 of Meet on Mondays.
25!
25. I should be doing a rap. No, I won't bore you with that. But but I do rap once in a while. And one day I will. And I'm Christina.
And I'm Jo.
And together we're As One Creative. So today we want to talk about taking the lesson and leaving the rest.
Because sometimes that's something you have to do.
Yeah. So, you know, in our industry and in life, people learn things different ways, they take things different ways, and they like to be presented with like corrections and advice in different ways. And I know, you know, let's take this in a class setting, and let's also take this with like choreographers. So, you know, maybe working on jobs and maybe taking class and training. But I know for me, I was really big on the supportive approach. So I was, you know, someone who wanted to, you know, Christina, now could we maybe work on, you know, your arms, they're a little bit sloppy, you need to lift. And, you know, I wanted someone that would deal it to me with a lot of honesty, but I wanted someone that probably wasn't, you know, screaming at me and possibly presenting it in a way that could have been offensive. But I did have teachers along the way and, you know, worked in gigs with choreographers that that's not their method. And you have to realize that everyone is really different.
And we don't get to tell anybody else who we think they should be. We don't get to go along and say, you get to speak to me like this, and you get to do this, and you get to do this.
Right.
So let's talk about the stuff we can actually control.
Right. So, you know, being part of programs or being, you know, working with a particular choreographer, they might be someone who presents like, you know, you should really think about working on your body image. And the way they deliver that seems really harsh and hurtful. But you have to learn to take what you can, leave the rest, and really develop a thick skin so that you can filter through those things and say, what did they really mean by that?
And if I feel hurt by it, or if I feel like some kind of resistance to what they're saying, why is that?
Yeah,
because often when we feel resistance to it, or we feel a little bit hurt, maybe there's an underlying pain point for us there. Maybe there's
a little bit of truth in maybe what they're saying. Yeah, and then there are those people that just, like, I know when I'm teaching class, I like to be that motivator, but I do yell, and people used to say to me, "You're so strict," but I was yelling like, "Come on, let's go!" And that's my method of teaching. And maybe some people are, you know, frightened by my really loud bursts of like, you know, yelling and chasing them across the room, but that's how I like to do it. And I feel like if I'm in a workout sort of training session, I want someone to really push me, like, "Come on, we can do it," in a positive way, but not something that feels like a harsh, you know, judgment on my being. So I had to really learn to go through all that, go through all those words that might have been given to me and go, what does that really mean? And is there some truth here? So you either have to, I think, find someone that you are connected with that will deal it to you in the real way, in the way that you can understand it, or you have to find a way to process things that possibly give you the truth in it, and maybe what you can work on, but not take all that other stuff personally. And it's going to happen anywhere in life, but it can, you know, be, since we are dancers, we are artists, it definitely, everybody has their own method of doing things, so it can absolutely affect your being if you are willing, you know, if you let it get to you and take it in. Right?
And it's essentially about what Christina was just saying, about having all of those words, having all that information, and can you find a way, no matter how they're delivered, whether it's in a way that you enjoy it or a way that doesn't necessarily gel with how you like to receive things, because we don't always get things the way we want to get them, but that's part of the beauty. Sometimes that's where the best lessons are, because if we just got everything the way we wanted to get it, then that would be the world according to us, which is not how life goes. So can you take the information anyway? Because with all of the different kinds of people that we want to be around, learn from, be exposed to, all these different ways of delivering and learning, and all these different styles that we can open ourselves up to, chances are you're opening yourself up to a whole bunch of stuff that's going to maybe come at you in ways that you're not used to, or ways that you haven't made friends with. So can you filter through that energy? Can you have, people call them filters, people call them boundaries, people call them lines. Can you have some of those in place that mean that you leave intact and not broken if something doesn't get delivered to you in a way that you've practiced unpacking?
Right.
Because sometimes it's about, oh, that was not quite how I expected to get that information, but hey, I'm gonna take the lesson. Sometimes I'm gonna take the lesson, and I I've also had some lessons, some information that came to me where it wasn't just, A, sometimes I've taken it way too personally. B, sometimes the way it was delivered, the person delivering it invested a lot of their personal stuff in it too. So it came to me, but there was also a lot of the day that they were having or the stuff that they were going through that kind of came out that perhaps on another day they wouldn't have delivered it in the same way. It might have come out with a little less fire, poison.
Attack.
So I had to learn where I began and they stopped, and then there was a crossover point, and there was some of that I could leave. There was some of that I didn't need to take on board, but there was always information for me. And one specific example I can think of is working with a choreographer whose process was interesting and a little bit mind-blowing for me and quite explosive. And what I realized in that whole experience was that just because their process happened to look a certain way, I didn't have to change mine. Right. I could still show up as the professional best version of myself. It didn't have to affect my behavior. I could choose to hold fast to my boundaries and not take any of that personally, but then I could also still show up as the professional during a tech rehearsal. No matter what somebody else was doing, I still had that capacity to be me. And then of course, following any of those experiences, I could either choose to dive back into that or choose to leave that where it was, but I left with my integrity intact. Right. And I left with my sense of self that I hadn't given away just because of the way somebody else's process happened to look. And so I guess the invitation when we're talking about sometimes you have to take the less and leave the rest. Can you always take the information, and can you always show up as the best version of yourself? Because ultimately we're talking about your experience going in and being so almost at the hands of other people, dealing with the energy that's going to come flying at you and the different people and the different ways we all communicate. Who are you taking in? Because obviously your energy is also a contribution. So the invitation is, who are you taking in to say hello to puppy number 2?
It always happens.
Who are you taking in? Which version of yourself are you taking in? What energy are you contributing to the situation? And is that what you want to be leaving?
Right. Well said. Well said. That's a good way to close. Yeah. So
thank you.
Find those filters.
Have a great day.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye. Thanks.